It was snowing nonstop that day. This winter has been particularly cold. Her hands and feet were always freezing, so she had a painful aversion to the cold. The girl cursed at the damn frost, saying that it was already costing her a fortune to pay the bills, and thought that if she died of cold like that, she wouldn't care. She only lives once. She would turn the heating on full blast. The Archduke of the North and the bright as a ray of sunshine, Archduke of the South. These two, along with the princess, are the protagonists of a romantic fantasy story. The comic is rather naive, and yet he is now her only joy. All her time was spent trying to earn a living, so she didn't have time to find friends. And relationships haven't really worked out. So she's trying to revive the long-dead butterflies in her stomach. Daven's twinkling eyes were focused on the crying Mabel. It was the first time his gaze wasn't beaming with friendliness. Suddenly, she sneezed and turned her head to see where the breeze was coming from. Her Daven for the first time was angry at the main character. How could they distract her? But suddenly she started to fall down, slipping. The Duke of the South, her favorite. And this was one of the key moments in the story. At first her mind went blank, but then it was filled with pain. Would she really die like that? Cold, very cold. It was the first time she'd ever been so cold. Her hands are freezing. What's happening? Where is she? The Archduke was standing over her, asking his wife how she was. That golden hair, red eyes, and innocent face. Luxurious decorations. It reminds her of something. Why the comic strip she'd been reading just before the fall came to mind. The girl asked if she could look in the mirror. I guess she died when she fell out the window after all. Did she really die and move into the body of the main character in the comic? She has snow-white hair and pink eyes. She's not the main character. There's no one in the comic with that look. Then who is she? And this man, he's probably one of the main characters, Archduke Michael of the North. The question is, who is she? At this point, the girl remembered what the guy had called her and asked again. He just called her wife. Michael asked if he wasn't allowed to. Then maybe Aisha, and continued to look at her with loving eyes. Michael's ex-wife, Aisha. She betrayed the Archduke by stealing a lot of money from him and then ran away to another country. Michael was willing to do anything for her, but Aisha broke his heart. After that, the Archduke lost his faith in women. Michael's a divorcee. Why would she move into this character's body? Plus, her favorite is the Duke of the South. But why the North? She hates the cold. The husband was worried about his wife and came up to her, looking at her, saying she was pale and asking if she was all right, embarrassing her. She's white as a corpse and her hands are freezing. It's dangerous. She can't live here. Aisha fainted. Good thing Michael was there to catch her. When she opened her eyes, she saw her lover in front of her. He said she fainted. How could she faint because of the cold? And what about the fireplace? The fire's burning hot. But even that doesn't save the situation. It's like she's at the North Pole. From the outside, it looks like she's about to take a breath, and those are her last words. It looks like she's going to have to repeat the escape of his ill-fated wife. Aisha says she wants to go south. Michael, despite his 26 years, is the Archduke of the North. He commands a powerful army. He's a perfect man. He's what a protagonist should be. Michael has lived in the North since he was a child, so he is a true patriot. He almost never leaves his domain, and because of that, everyone thinks he's being held there by force. He's uncompromising, but he's often obsessive, so she thinks it's a waste of time. He asked her why she wanted to go south. She said it was just a fainting delusion. She doesn't want to go there. She can't go south. Does he always act like a lunatic? If you think about it, there's a main character, Princess Mabel. Why does he make love to her and not Mabel? She's probably in the period before the story started. Michael's with Aisha, so he's not involved with Mabel yet. It was slow going, losing her parents. Mabel lived alone until she came to the palace as a maid. Seeing Mabel so much like the late princess, the Empress welcomed her into the family. All the courtiers took a great liking to her. The Archduke of the North has no blood ties to the imperial family. Daven is a prince, but he's been sent to rule the South. They both fall head over heels in love with Mabel's freedom and innocence. And when she should disappear, she should wait for the right moment and get her claws out. She can't be here. Michael reiterated once again that she can't be here. But she didn't say anything. He's not going to let her go anywhere. Michael's not the main problem right now. She can't be Archduchess of the North. She's freezing. Why is he so obsessed with the north? Suddenly, someone was stopping by. Aisha tried to draw her husband's attention to it because he kept saying she couldn't go south. Michael told him to come in. Poor man from Aisha's point of view. He'll take her pulse. Why doesn't he say anything? She even gets nervous. And Michael devours the healer with his eyes. When the old man wanted to tell him the results, the guy said to start. He took his hands off his wife and now let him talk. Why Aisha faints so often? For starters, can he clarify where the Duchess is from? She doesn't know where she's from. The answer to that question won't help us figure out how to cure her. It will. His wife is from the south of Malta. She's so excited. Aisha's from the south. She's heard that before. The name Malta is Davin territory. That's where all the aristocracy lives. Maybe she's of noble blood too. Aisha and Davin share a homeland. If she's from such a warm place, that explains it. Here's her chance. It's all right. He can talk and not be afraid. Michael. His wife's body can't cope with the cold of the north, hence the frequent fainting spells. That's what they're supposed to do. Maybe sit by the fireplace more often for a while. That's a good option. But the products of combustion could further compromise the Archduchess's health. What to do? Maybe she should go to a sanatorium. South Malta, for example, is a good idea. Michael got angry and asked the old man to say it again. The old man got scared and said the southern continent is worse than the northern continent, so she'd better not leave here. He almost said the words she needed. They understood. He could go. She can't even think straight because of the cold. His wife fell off her feet right in front of him, and Michael has no plans to solve the problem. But why is he so stubborn? The north is beautiful. He made the trip unforgettable. Don't let him go back to the south. He's always been like that. The comments said he's just a sweetheart. You can go crazy. And may they be allowed to find happiness in the north. Michael isn't at all what they thought he was in the first chapters. What with the comments? Davin is much better. What's with the stubbornness? Michael's stubbornness will drive anyone crazy. Asks the author to make sure Mabel and Davin are together and live happily ever after. She wrote hateful comments about him. Maybe it's karma, and now she's paying for all those mean words. The Archduke noticed what his wife was going through and asked her why she was tearing her hair out. She had a question. The South is her homeland, so why can't she just go there for a while? There must be a reason. In the comic, he said that Mabel was his first true love, which means nothing happened between him and Aisha. I wonder what reason he's going to give now. There's no reason at all. She is shocked. What do you mean? There's a lot of mean people out there. What's he talking about? Especially the one who's always talking nonsense. They're supposed to be friends, and that sarcastic smirk of his. That fucking Davin is the one you should be most afraid of. Could it be that Davin is the Archduke of the South? Could she really be friends with him? And then there's Davin and sarcasm. But after all, he is very kind. Thinking out loud. No, really. Davin is just the kindest of kindnesses. He's good to his friends and always smiling. To her, he's the standard of all positive qualities and in general. From now on, he won't let him set foot on his territory. I can't believe he's offended. No way. What kind of obsessed protagonist would sulk over something like that? He didn't speak to her for the next 4 days. So there's that. The maid asked if she was okay. Aisha smiled happily and told her not to worry so much about her. Lara is her personal maid. She's been with her ever since she moved. It's been 4 days since her rebirth. She's been sleeping like a dead woman because of the cold. But even that short time was enough to accept the simple truth. Like it or not, she must live in this body. And even though she's a comic book character and can be watched by thousands of readers' eyes, there is no magic in this world. So there's no warming charms. No matter how many clothes she puts on, it's still cold. And she hasn't been sent to a sanatorium in the south. So there's only one way out. That's running away. Or she'll freeze to death. What about Michael? His lordship's on patrol with the knights, so he won't be back until late at night. Today would have been the perfect day to escape, but she hadn't made a plan yet, so maybe she should have seized the moment. Suddenly another maid came running in, screaming really hard. What's wrong? Why does she have a bad feeling? The butler took him to the drawing room. Someone had gotten to the manor, despite the cold. So if Michael isn't here, she's got to meet the visitor. But why all the fuss? Their guest is the Archduke of the South himself. It can't be. Former prince, now Archduke of the South, Davin, and here he is sitting right in front of her. and he's delighted to meet her. And he's much more manly than she thought. What's his business here? He had business nearby, so he thought he'd stop by on his way to visit an old friend. It's weird. If you add up everything you've heard, Aisha's a minor character. It's too big a role for someone who's only been mentioned in one line. Archduke Michael's not at home if she's the only one out to see him. He's on his nightly rounds, so that's it. That's his way of telling her to get all the outsiders out of here, so he can tell her how her family's doing. Of course he will. After that, all the courtiers left the room. Judging by his reaction, he does have one. If her finger pointing was wrong, it would be embarrassing. Speaking of which, up close, he looks exactly as she'd imagined. Certainly Daven is very different from Michael. He didn't expect her to bring up family. Aisha doesn't have a good relationship with her family. He also calls her by her first name. They must really be friends. Well, if that's the case, then they'll talk about it. He's been wanting to talk to her for a long time. Her father is Baron Marianne. Baron. So she's still an aristocrat, but not of the upper class. So why did Michael choose to marry a woman far below him? And also what kind of man her father is. He's a good man. They say he still can't pull himself together. He's always visiting underground gambling establishments. That's something she didn't expect. Her father's a gambling addict. That's just like him. And the Archduke. After she married him, he paid off all his debts, but now they'll pile up again. He warned him, but to no avail. That's how she was sold, how he had to gamble to go so far to pay his debts. And Michael is no less strange. He married a girl he didn't love, and at a loss to the union. Not only did he get nothing, but he paid back his father's debts. That's what he did. He sent Arian to an academy on the outskirts of the empire, so she doesn't have to worry about him. He's her little brother, so he can't leave him to fend for himself. Daven even takes care of her brother. I knew he was the best. It looks like his brother has suffered too. She's grateful to him and will repay his kindness. They're not strangers to each other. They're just friends, and he says things like that. Maybe now they'll talk about what's important. Why did he come here? He's too close. He brought what she asked him to bring. And what's that? The divorce agreement. Exactly. All the other papers are there too. Once they bear Archduke Michael's seal, it's all over. Did she ask for this? 2 months ago, on her wedding day, she secretly asked him to do just that. On her wedding day, she was already thinking about divorce. In the original story, Aisha left Michael and moved far, far away. It's like she left her new family, and yet she thinks she had a good reason for running away. Her father bankrupted the family and sold his daughter to pay off his debts. Simply put, it's the perfect opportunity for her to escape as well. She's a little shocked that it was Daven who helped Aisha escape. She's grateful that he came here for her. It's okay. She can't get caught. She'll look south. She doesn't think so. It'll be very problematic. Why? Because of the Baron? He'll help her deal with him. She could hurt Michael. Her escape will be a blow to him. I can't imagine how devastated he'll be when he finds out she's gone south. And besides, she's only talking about her homeland. If she goes there, he'll find her most likely. She'll get to the capital first, then she'll think about it. It's warmer than here. It's a pity. If anything happens, let her contact him before her creepy husband comes back. She doesn't have to see him off. It's cold outside. Let her dress warmer. She's in a bad mood because of the cold. Tell her to dress warmer too. Now she's starting to feel the reality of what's happening. It's unfolding just like in the original story. A couple of days later. The paperwork is done. She has a plan for everything. Her things are packed. She has learned the map of the area. Now all that's left is to leave the estate. She also wrote a letter to Michael. She didn't mean to do it, but she's sure to die of cold here sooner or later. Why is everything going so smoothly? She even managed to avoid the knights on duty. It's the last ship. She'll finally say goodbye to this damn cold. But suddenly, guards appeared from behind her back and told her to come with them. The first escape attempt failed. There's no letter or papers anywhere in the room. He must have burned everything. What's going on? They don't even have a guard in her room. She tried to escape just yesterday, so it's like heaven gave her a second chance, or it's an original plot. It's time to try again. The guard change is coming up. She'll have a chance. If she gets out in time, she can escape. But she doesn't have a chance. It's crazy what they're doing in there. It's okay. She saw this coming and prepared herself. The maid asked Lara where the kitten came from. There's a hole in the wall nearby. He must have gotten in through it. He must have frozen. He's very cute. The hole in the wall? There she is. She got in. Now she's sure she can get out. But there was a guard waiting for her. Scared her. The second escape attempt failed. After this escape, the girl is brought to Michael. Don't look at her like that and say something. If he doesn't say anything, then she'll go. Let her wait. He took her hand and said he'd ask her one thing. How he scared her. He's so strong. Why she's always trying to leave the house no matter what she says. He won't understand. It's embarrassing. It's the cold. The maids keep telling her it's not that cold today. It's only -20. If she doesn't want to talk, she doesn't have to. No matter how many times she runs away, he'll still bring her back. Then the wife couldn't stand it and screamed that she was cold. It's important to her. Why doesn't he say anything? Is it really just because of that? That's how. After that, the maids changed Aisha. These pajamas are very warm. It suits her well. Let her drink hot tea if she's warm in this blanket. They say goodnight. She doesn't quite understand what's going on, but she feels fine. It'll probably be cold again in the morning, but she's very well now. It's morning, but she's still warm for some reason. Fully awake, the girl saw Michael in bed next to her, who had tied their hands together so she wouldn't run away. Why would he tie their hands together? There'd be traces of it. She'd seen it before. She woke Michael up, he untied their hands, and then he called the maids. They handed her a foreign medicine. It's extremely effective. Let her drink it down. It's disgusting. Let her eat this, please, this too. The scarf is made of foxskin and the gloves are from a famous craftsman, and it hasn't stopped since yesterday. Michael ordered the maids to wave more vigorously to make the fireplace burn more. Isn't she still cold? Let her be patient for a while. Let them wave even faster. Let her stop. That's enough. She's already dizzy. Couldn't he call off the servants for a while? That's synchronization. They're so coordinated. There's more to do. First, have him explain it to her. And at what point he came to her bed. I don't want her to think it means anything. Did he think she was trying to run away again? No, not at all. The doctor said holding her hand, it would help keep her warm. While she was resting in the room, he went to see the doctor, that it was a strange sensation. Michael took Mabel by the chin. A smug smile played on his face. He said she was his. Let her know he'll never let her go. He's exactly the same character. It's so tedious, and the blindfold was to keep her from accidentally letting go of his hand in her sleep. That's the only reason. She trusts him. From the time they're alone, he only calls her by her first name. He'll make her feel warm. Just don't let him go. His words were determined, and strangely enough, they made her heart flutter. He shouldn't have hurried. He could have handled it himself. He'll regret it. Apparently, he didn't even realize how his little bear favor would affect her. He knew at once what Davan meant. Mistress hasn't left her room or eaten anything in days. She's always fainting. He doesn't care, even if she hates him. Just don't let her leave him. It's just awful. He didn't trust her. He thought she was doing it because she hates him, so she doesn't hate him after all. If he solves this problem, if she's warm, maybe she'll stay with him. He thought she wanted to leave him. He's out of his mind. He's relieved he didn't get dumped. Last night, let him tell her what he has to do. How to cure her first. She needs to take warming medicine every day. Always wear a scarf, gloves, and socks. And it would be good to have someone with her at all times. What he said would keep her ladyship warm. He didn't mean anything else. He'll come to the manor in a couple of days for a reassessment, and he'll repeat to her what he's just told her. One wrong move and he's a goner. He's got no margin for error. The meds seem to be working. She's improved a lot these past few days. That's great. If you think about it, she's even stopped fainting. She doesn't need to be on a regimen anymore. But there is one rule she must follow. She must hold hands with the Archduke at all times. It's even better if she sleeps with him, because it's all about keeping warm. It can't be helped. The doctor must be obeyed. They've improved a lot lately. I can't believe how happy I is. And the atmosphere on the estate has changed. She's envious. Michael held her hand every day. He'd skip practice on odd excuses just to be with her. Even in his office when he was doing his work, he wouldn't let her go. And at mealtimes, he sits next to her like he's glued to her. Is this all for medical reasons? She's embarrassed by the interested stares of the other residents, and one in particular. Aaron is the servant Michael cares most about. He stares at them all the time, and she thought he didn't care. He seems embarrassed of her. He's just a little kid. Let him go, he won't. The doctor said to always hold her hand. Isn't he tired of walking around together? Not once. On the contrary, he's more relaxed that way. If she's warm. Not that warm. It's for medical purposes and she shouldn't take it any other way. South Malta. What's he thinking about? Nothing. He's just resting. He's always overworked, and the trip up north has left him with a backlog of things to do, which makes it worse. There's nothing you can do about it. It's an obligation. Unfortunately, I didn't get to meet his brother, and he wanted to say hello to him. That's okay. He understands. Circumstances didn't allow it. And from whom he heard that phrase. Let him rest properly. When he's done with his business, he's never seen her so alive, and she cared for him. Even though he's trying to forget everything, he can't suppress his inner longing. Let him meet Miss Marianne. Her name is Aisha. She's so shabby. She's starved and her dress is all dirty. He's never seen her smile. He feels sorry for her, but he mustn't let it show. He'll be Archduke one day, so it's his duty to help others. He thought she liked the bread, so he sneaked some more. Aisha is different from other noble ladies. She knows how to thank sincerely. As long as she thanks him, he knows why he lives. Then he sincerely believed that she would always be there for him. Due to unforeseen circumstances, she marries Archduke Michael. Congratulate her on her wedding. Why is the bride so sad? She's the most important lady in the north now. Well, why is her face so sad? If only she'd waited. He would have helped her as always, but Michael ruined everything. She wanted to talk to him alone. She has to divorce him, have him draw up the papers. But it must be a secret. She was asking him to do it. It wasn't an easy request. But Aisha was a southerner, and as she was his man, he had to help her. He had all the paperwork in place within 2 months. But why did he suddenly feel so empty? As soon as it was over, he would no longer be of any use to her. That's right, what a selfish man he is. But Aisha won't be unhappy at last. But he already misses her image. He's weak, he's worthless. He misses her. What did she mean when she said that these could offend Michael? For such a pathetic reason, she doesn't want to go back to the south. He'd better stop thinking about it. He's a Maltese. He mustn't forget his duty. Aisha will soon leave that place anyway. The north, where there's nothing but savage cold. It's nice to have a warm bath. It's a great mood. But how come she's got all these bruises on her body? She hasn't had a chance to ask anyone about it, and the servants pretend not to notice, though she has a hunch. She'll have to find out somehow. What necklace she wants to wear tonight? She doesn't care. It won't show under her clothes anyway. She wants it to be pretty, though, so she can pick it out herself. And what exactly does she want her to wear? That necklace with the pink gemstone? It'll match her eyes. It's perfect. Then let her wear it. As Lara was fastening her necklace, the girl cried out, "Did she hurt her? Let her apologize, please." There's a bruise on the back of her neck, too. You can't see it. That's why she didn't know about it before. She apologizes. The bruise is almost healed. She thought it wouldn't feel like that. It's okay. She didn't do it on purpose, but she should have been more careful. It's a good reason to ask questions. Don't let her cry. It's okay. She's up north now. She won't get any more bruises. Of course she won't. His lordship asked me to treat her gently. She made a mistake. She swears she'll be more careful next time. As she thought, Michael knew too. He even warned the servants. Even though she suspects exactly what happened, she still feels uneasy. Her father is a baron. Let him go already. Even if it's just today. It's only a day. It's been so many days. He's definitely the selfless lord of the north. Let him come quickly. Let him hold her hand a little longer. She's cold. She's fine. She's wearing several pairs of gloves now. What's he doing? It's all right. Don't let him leave her side until he gets here. He's on his way to the training ground. Right. Sir Robert has been so happy lately. So energetic. He likes it. What was that? Why was her heart so empty all of a sudden? She must have gotten used to his company. It's sad. She's cold again. What to do? His lordship's gone, or he'd have taken her hand. She must stop thinking about it. She wants hot tea. The tea His Majesty brought. She likes it. Let her take her through the dining room. She mustn't leave her side. Is the cheerful knight her personal guard, Lady Chloe? But she's one of Michael's closest people. And after tea, she takes her for a walk, and it's the brave protector who's more excited about the walk than she is. Him again. Happy to see her. She didn't call him just to say hello. Aisha has a younger brother. If he attends the academy, he and Aaron are probably the same age if he's hungry. That's how Sir Robert was rejected. He didn't look himself for a week. Sad, isn't it? He's been rejected like that before. Let him eat, don't be shy. She was shocked. She thought Robert would resign. How many times had she heard that story? Good tea has a special flavor in a cold room. If she hadn't been up north, she would never have tasted it. She felt so comfortable. He didn't give him permission to have tea with his wife. Actually, he was asked. He's not welcome. Aaron was just passing by, so she called him. So he dares to pass by his mistress. Don't let him worry. They're very close. He's joking. It's true. Of course, they've known each other for a long time. Aaron grew up on the estate. Michael raised him. But why is he so cold towards him? And yet he treats him so rudely. He eats like he's not being fed. Let him thank his wife for her generosity. He already has. What happened? She has a bad feeling. Her ladyship's father, Baron Marianne here, bankrupted his family, sold his own daughter, and now he's come to visit. He has no shame. It didn't all happen to her, but somehow her heart beat so fast. Michael took her hand. He whispered to her that everything was okay. It wasn't her fault. Here they are. It's been a long time. He's not interested in his daughter, but in her fiancé. She has a rough idea of how the Baron felt about Aisha. It's been a long ride up here. It's freezing cold. Send him inside quickly. What's he talking about? No, she can't be angry right now. She doesn't want to leave him out in the cold. They'll get right down to business. His lordship doesn't want him messing up the living room. He's joking if that's the case. He's got a proposition for him. If he'd be kind enough to lend his father-in-law some money. And the old man is not modest. Michael's very angry. You can see it with the naked eye. She doesn't mind. Of course she doesn't mind. What a loving father. Have the guards take him away. His lordship must be getting stuffy. What he's doing. Let them take him away. It's high time the Baron got to know the cold of the north. Let him go. This man has no honor in him. Is he really a member of the nobility? He'll regret it. He's forgotten the treaty. What's he talking about? The old man's talking nonsense. It's blowing hard. They should go inside. She has so many thoughts in her head. Whether she should stay up north. Maybe it's better to just pretend to be Aisha until he finally appropriates her life. Does it give her the right to interfere with Aisha's life? And if she ruins it? I should have left him with no shoes on, so he could fully experience the north frost. But you can't treat a person like that. She has to do something. Aisha can come back to this body, and then say a few words to him. Better not. No, it's her own business and she'll handle it herself. Everyone's so busy. She doesn't do anything. With her health problems, Michael keeps telling her to rest. He dropped a leaf. He doesn't seem to care. She'd better take it to him herself. And to whom it's addressed. Maybe to the butler. It's a report of the duchy's latest expenditures. I wonder what Michael is buying. Baron Marianne, 2,000 gold pieces. What it means. Let him explain it to her, from beginning to end, and hide nothing. As she herself remembers, when she got married, their families made a contract. Actually, she doesn't remember. Later, another clause was added. She didn't know about it because her father asked her to add it secretly. Let him say what the clause was. The aforementioned Archduke is to provide Baron Marianne with certain sums of money if necessary, from the time Aisha becomes his wife until she ceases to bear the Archduke's name. But why? There must be a reason why he agreed to this condition, because she was Aisha Marianne. He didn't want the family to be poor. They were her kin after all, and he could afford it. So he agreed. She can see that he is sincere. Michael did it for the good of her family. He is purely motivated by good intentions. She can't even be mad at him, really. But don't let him do that from now on. She has one more thing to ask of him. Tell him to bring her father here as soon as possible. She doesn't mind. Of course she'll show him the ropes. Dad was brought in much sooner than she expected. She almost kept him waiting. It's not just intimidation. And if he goes ballistic and starts asking for sums he can't even afford, let them open the door. Ungrateful bastard thinks he's getting off easy. Let them hold him, if she's okay. He almost attacked her. That's how the Baron treated Aisha. She wants to discuss something with him, like a daughter with her father, and that's why they brought him here like a sack of potatoes. Let them calm down and step aside. That's what she wanted to talk to him about, that it's a request for an exemption. She wants out of the Marianne family. Have her sign at the bottom and have them release one of her hands. The real Aisha probably wouldn't even dare look him in the eye. She's making a big mistake. She doesn't know who put her up to it, but where will she go if this duke leaves her? Only he will take her back. He's her father. It's who's leaving who. Don't listen to this nonsense. The father doesn't understand the situation. No one told her to. It's her decision. Even if she's on the street in the future, she'll still be happy that she won't have a father like him anymore. What's wrong with her? Let her forgive him. She's asking for the last time. She really wants to leave her father. Let her answer him. She'll think about it, so let her start signing. He can't. Let him sign it before she finally decides to give up on him. He's well aware. He's afraid to get a scratch. Aisha beat him almost every day. That's the end of it. She hopes he doesn't have to go. How can she leave him? She's not going to give him the documents. Don't worry. The father called her by her last name. The girl turned around and called her husband's last name. No matter what happens, she'll still be part of the family. Watching the guards escort the Baron out of the manor was no relief. She didn't really want to do that to a man called her father. I wonder how Aisha would have behaved in her place. She must have been in pain. She grew up in bad conditions. She certainly didn't get enough parental love. How does Aisha feel living with a father who didn't care for her at all? She must have felt very lonely. Is there any point in getting upset about it? There are more important things to do right now. She's very grateful to her. She's fine. Is she really going to leave her family? But then why would she? She's not going to disown her family. She just needs leverage against her father. So she has something to threaten him with. Don't worry. Those papers will serve her well. And he already thought she was serious. She can't leave her family yet, and then the other innocent victim is left alone. Her brother. She can't leave him alone. He is still in school. He needs help. Maybe there are other people who need his support. But the question is, how will she take him away from his father? She doesn't know much about Aisha's brother. She needs to find out more about him somehow. Maybe then they'll bring her brother here. He wants to take responsibility for her brother. He knows what he's talking about. He doesn't have enough of her. Not enough. Not enough trouble. Daven said he's looking after him, and he's at the academy. That's right. He took offense last time. The story hasn't started yet. They shouldn't have crossed paths much. Why does Michael hate him so much? Maybe because he's Southern, and he's the Archduke of the South. What about the money? He'll pay back 2,000 gold pieces. No. But why would... The money went straight to the Baron's estate. It covered the delayed salaries of the employees and all the expenses of the house. It appears the Baron doesn't pay much attention to where he lives. He doesn't know yet. She should have told her and warned her. But it's for the best. Father will be furious when he finds out. Let him come here. If he doesn't like it, his wife will deal with him. Where's he going? He wants to go out. She hasn't been out yet either. The tea party was so pleasant she'd forgotten she was in such a good mood despite the cold. Where she is, and what she's doing. She's doing well. I have no idea what he'll think if he finds out, but she wants her not to be sad when she gets back. Actually, she's the one in charge of Mistress's walks. They get along very well. Suddenly they do. There were reports that they're not doing well. They are. The Baron has been taken care of. That's why the Duke's men followed them, but they put him in the carriage beforehand. It'll be a shame if they lose this card once they've used it. I think they'll need it again. Good work. They'll be in touch. Aisha is writing this letter to Daven. She's in the north now, of course. She's married to the Archduke of the North. Michael cares for her very much. Naturally, he does. Why write such a thing? It's very cold outside, and the wind is blowing hard. Is she cold again? Let him apologize to her, but he can move to the other side. Why? She's not comfortable peeing because he's holding her hand. Maybe she shouldn't write that letter at all. He's offended again. Why is she even writing to him? He's definitely offended. Why does he hate Daven so much? He's a Southerner, but he's kind. Always courteous and nice. Daven doesn't even resent the Emperor who banished him. Maybe there's some other reason why he hates him so much. First of all, he's annoyed by his face. When they see his face, they get stuffy. You can't argue with that. His face radiates light. He's perfectly suited to the title of Archduke of the South. But there's one more thing he doesn't like about him. And what is that? What is it that he couldn't articulate? And yet, she should try to be more relaxed about him. He's a friend of hers. The two of them are so close that he visits her unannounced, so he knows. Did you really think he wouldn't find out? That's not the point. Although aristocrats in the North and South send each other invitations out of politeness, both sides don't often accept them for several reasons. One, it's a long journey. And secondly, differences in mentality make it impossible for Southerners and Northerners to find common ground. Usually he doesn't even read the invitation letters. He was thinking that day. There's a letter from the North. He thinks it's just another invitation. Should he throw it away? Let him put it here. He wants to read it. Why he's suddenly so excited. Daven is from Aisha. It's written all over his face. She's still cold, but she's getting used to it. Michael takes great care of her and helps her with everything. Soon she'll even be able to go outside. There's an ice festival in the north. Did he know? He and Michael decided to go together. He tried so hard to help her. I'm sorry it was all for nothing. I'm very grateful to him. And may he pardon her and keep her well. To her dear friend. How long is the flower festival? It's still 2 months away. What's the matter? She's starting to worry. Why? It's the first time she's ever been off the estate. Is she worried? She is. To tell the truth, it's not really her first time. Though she didn't have time to look at the city during her escape. Everyone will marvel at her beauty. She's just beautiful, if she can give her the mantle. But she's better off without it. Michael showed up and asked if she could wear a fur hat. Then the point of these beautiful robes would be lost. You can't be serious. But the warmth. She was actually starting to get a little worried. They're just going to a festival. Why would they have such an entourage? On the first day of the festival, the streets are always crowded. To avoid pandemonium, they're traveling with a small number of people as escorts. Thinks they'll still stand out a bit. It's her first time out of the house. What he's trying to say. If you think about it, it's not her first. She's been out of the house a few times. She'll go first. Michael caught up with her and kissed her hand and told her to sit down. It's karma to get stupidly caught trying to escape. What's fun at the ice festival? Fancy sculptures, and at night you can see the northern lights. It's worth it. She's never really looked up at the sky before. Then she's in for something amazing. This crowd is much bigger than she expected. But is she the only one who's cold? Isn't it freezing cold? Everyone's so quiet, feels like a stranger here. Nice weather today, perfect day for a festival. And here's a fancy statue. It must be very hard to make. She's very stingy with compliments, but it's true. It's a nice festival and competitions. Interesting. The atmosphere is so joyful. It's her grace how her festival is going. What is it? A flower is amazing. It's the first time she's seen one. She wonders what the name of the flower is. She can smell the fragrance coming from it. She's glad he's enjoying the festival, and yet she shouldn't leave him. Let him excuse her. She's staring at the flower. Why is he looking at her like that? He must be scared. She just saw a flower, an unusual sight considering it's winter. This flower is called Kilimanja. It only grows in the north and is frost-resistant. It's so different from other flowers. There's something creepy about it. It turns out Michael even knows its name. She's here. She must have been waiting for her. Now that Chloe's here, they can take a look around. This is the main square where people gather for the big festivities. They've been here for an hour, and he's not the least bit tired of explaining. She's also starting to get stressed out by all the attention from other people. He'll try to distract himself. Since it's the ice festival, there's bound to be something going on in the square. Right, there's nothing officially planned, and this year he's back at it again. He's familiar with it. Every year he's a self-proclaimed festival host, but no one asks him to do it, and the Northerners are different. Before the festival begins, he sees a familiar face in the crowd. It's his lordship and his wife. He's all grown up, the way he's holding her by the shoulders. They look good together, don't they? They really are so cute. This is the first time they've seen their new Archduchess. They look so harmonious together. I wonder if they could have a word. He said not to ask for such a thing. Well, something has to be said. She might get a little cold without him. She said it's the first time she's been out in public. She wants to look nice. It won't take long. It's okay. It's not okay. She's gonna freeze. It won't shut up. It's giving her a headache. That was reckless. But she asked for it, so you can't let it show. Michael will provide security for the festival tonight. Let them enjoy the festivities. Now it's her turn to speak. I'm not sure she'll be able to get a word in edgewise. You can't pass out right here and not overload yourself. Michael is with her. She's not afraid to make a mistake. She's suddenly feeling much better. Maybe she's just overexcited. Aisha hopes that today will be a wonderful memory for them. She's not as cold as she was then, but she can't feel her fingers. She can already see how she'll be shivering when she gets back to the manor. So now we've got to go all out. He thinks she has a better appetite outside than at home. She doesn't. It's just that Aaron has seduced her. It's the first time she's tasted this dish. He's had it in the capital. He came from the capital. Oh, really? She thought he was a native northerner. He's just so cold. It's prejudice. I see she's interested in Aaron. Not really. He's a silly little thing, always getting dirty. She's probably overprotective. Aaron probably doesn't like him treating him like a child. He's definitely angry. Let him forgive her if she hurt him. It's okay. She did something wrong. She got dirty. He's grateful to her. Why? Shouldn't she be thanking him? Let him forget and look over there. It's just beautiful. No one is surprised but her. Apparently, everyone here is used to it. But will she get used to it? She probably will in time. Perhaps she's rushing things. Still, to get used to such beauty would be an incredible luxury. Michael put a hat on Aisha, saying she'd be cold soon. He frightened her. Something's different now she's looking into his eyes. How could the Southern aristocrats owe the Bank of the North? He wouldn't want to deal with the South. He doesn't know how it happened, but he hopes he can find a solution to the problem. He's responsible, hence the others. That's how, at the mansion, his own people don't trust him, so he turned to him. The Baron said he has children he's responsible for. He means her. Have her come here. She's his daughter. If he wants, he can take her as his concubine. He's a man of his word. You couldn't see the wounds on her body from afar. She asks him to save her father. She is grateful that he is always by her side. Mom, the only thing he can do for her is pray. Don't let him say that. He is very strong. He will protect her and the North. He understands her feelings. She wants to protect her family, but this girl can't stay here. The Baron is hurting his daughter. He wants to help her. He will save her father, but on one condition. Michael, the groom, and Aisha, the bride, are engaged to be married. Michael saves Aisha by remembering his own past. At first glance, he did it out of pity and nothing more. But in fact, the marriage was not only for that reason. Although Michael got caught, he was convinced of the opposite. He saw in her the selflessness that he himself possessed and thought they had a chance. But married life was not as happy as he expected. They didn't even have a wedding kiss. What can you do? It's a marriage of convenience. It's strange to the Archduke because there's no profit in it. It's none of their business. They should be quiet. When he looks into her eyes, guilt starts to gnaw at him. Even though he didn't expect love and consent from day one, he didn't expect it to hurt so much. It's lunchtime. He thinks she needs to eat. Let her come out, please, in case she never opens up to him. It doesn't matter. At least he has the North. He's used to a lonely life anyway. Why is it that when he sees her, he wants so badly to make a deal with her? What happened to her? Everything changed the day she started running away. Now he feels uneasy, even when she's around. But why does this feeling come from? I wonder if he wants to tell her something. The hat fits unevenly. They'll stand a little longer, and then they'll be on their way back. He wants to be her family. It's strange why he's not answering the phone. He's at a festival. There's a lot of people here. He'll call him back. He told him to just fake it and he's there. In the end, he's the only one who will feel bad about it. Michael Davin and Aisha. It's definitely his wife. Her name comes up a lot in the reports. At first he thought she was a sad, quiet girl. She's managed to woo 2 archdukes. How can he take advantage of her? How was the last day? So-so. The end of the festival is always the most uninteresting, but the contest for the longest time on the ice was amazing. Don't talk about it in front of the lady. There were some tough contests. She was so cold she had to skip the last day of the festival. She was so surprised. When she said hello to the townspeople on the first day, she was beautiful. Don't exaggerate. They're telling the truth. She's all they've been talking about lately, the woman who could change the Duke. His lordship has become so romantic. He holds her hand all day long and brings her medicine every day. He even picks out her warm clothes himself. Michael often does that so she doesn't die of cold. He's a caring man by nature, although it's not a bad thing that they seem friendly to others. It doesn't matter. Is there any news from the capital? It's about time the main character showed up. The story shouldn't deviate too much from the script, so she'll leave the North when Mabel arrives. Her uncle lives there. He told her something. He saw the prince ride out of the palace. He says he's a handsome man. She's talking about Mabel's brother. He wasn't a minor character, like Aisha, but he didn't play much of a role in the story. He took care of Mabel, even though he wasn't her real brother. He was a good man. If she'd ever seen him. Not once. He must be like Archduke Davin, since they're brothers. Not at all. They have different hair color and facial features. Quite different. Davin took after his mother. That's why they didn't make him the heir. He looks too much like a woman without noble roots. How could they send away a small child for such a petty reason? She wants to see his crown prince. And she wants to see Davin and she the crown prince. They think nothing of their duke's beauty. Michael's just as good. He's the best-looking man in the Empire, and Aaron and Chloe are so casual about Michael. She likes that. She should probably say she likes her husband better, but she has her preferences. When she said Davin's name, Michael showed up, asking what she just said. She needs to correct herself. Davin is no match for her dear husband. Now that she's had her tea, let her go with him. Those maids only know how to talk. She really likes him better. Of course that pleases him. Let her look only at him. She's feeling much better. She had a cold at the ice festival. That's how the missus got the invitation from the south. He doesn't know when she wakes up, so he'll just give it to her himself from the Urgerzog Davin. Let him give it here. He'll see it. To his dear friend Aisha. He's glad her health is beginning to improve. The cold has finally receded. The first days of spring have arrived. In honor of this, they have an annual flower festival in the south. Doesn't want to read any further. The beautiful scent of the homeland awaits her. From Davin. Openly provokes him. How dare he invite his wife to any festivals? In this unusual way, the two archdukes exchanged letters. I'm grateful to him for the invitation, but unfortunately, his wife is ill after the ice festival, so he'll answer in her place. For good reason, she has to cancel. He hopes she'll understand. He didn't know she was sick. He hopes for her speedy recovery and is grateful to be responsible for her. As it happens, she can come to them for warmth and a speedy recovery. What he's talking about. His wife's in a very bad way. She's not ready for the road. But don't worry. She's an old friend of his, and it's natural for him to care for her. She must miss her homeland. If it means anything to him, he can apologize. But his wife loves the North, so stop childishly provoking him. There was no answer to the conversation. He won as a child. The Archduke was so busy with correspondence that he didn't think to ask if Davin had tried to send a letter directly to Aisha. Letter C. The flower festival is coming up, and she's invited. They're going, aren't they? And they think it'll be very interesting. It must be warm in the south. Her dress will be here. Let them take the firewood there. He has no choice but to go to the south. He'll tell him in person. He's accompanying her this time. He had to stay and guard Chloe's estate during the festival. She wouldn't stop talking about him. Robert's the deputy commander, so he's always busy, and she hasn't made friends with him like Chloe has. She's a little uncomfortable around him yet, because she keeps remembering that look on his face. I wish he'd be her personal guard instead of her. Stop messing around and help her with her things. She'll finally get to see the rest of the Empire. When she crosses the border from the north, she'll probably realize where she wants to go next. She can feel the progress. For now, let it be. It's uncomfortable to sit idly by while the rest of us labor. He definitely wants to go with her. Plus, he has to meet someone. So, of course he'll go. Who he has to meet? Davin. He has to put him in his place. They're going south to enjoy the holiday, or they're going to have a relationship. She's already dreading their meeting. Too bad they couldn't get there by ship, and the Ice Witch's curse period had begun, so they had no other choice. That's when all the rivers and lakes freeze over. It's great that they're going south. It's like they're on vacation. He probably wanted to take her on a boat ride. They're gonna stop at the capital, so it's probably better because they'll be able to spend more time together. There's a lot of cafes that sell delicious desserts, and of course they'll be together. It'll strengthen their relationship. They'll taste all the goodies in the capital. The macarons are popular. Princess Mabel tasted them in one of the capital's restaurants. She said the macaroni tasted divine. Every day the restaurant became more and more popular. People queued for miles to try the sweet treat. Being up north has its advantages. She'll get a surprise dessert from her favorite story and a glimpse of the festival. Things have been going so well lately. It's the first time he's seen her this happy. She's been trying to survive in the cold for too long. If he's busy, you can stay home. They'll go together. She'll go. That's what she wants. If there's anything else she wants, let her just say so. They need to eat. It's definitely time for lunch. They're almost at the border. It's not so cold. They can eat here, and then they can walk around. Snacking and enjoying the food, they can plan their next steps on the border while feeling the warmth of pleasant company. He's obsessed with walking. A new place is unfamiliar. She's a little scared, but that shouldn't stop her. It's not as cold as she imagined. Maybe she's getting used to the low temperatures. She's fine. If she's cold, she can get a blanket. They brought warming meds with them. They can bring her some if she wants. There's a fire going out there right now. Let her warm up and call them right away. If she needs anything, she's not that cold. She's really fine. She doesn't feel a little cold. Maybe she could at least put a scarf around her. It's okay. How's she feeling? Warm. Lara is so restless. Let her tell you if she's cold. She's a southerner and doesn't know much about these parts. But in fact, in the cold season, many people die of frostbite. Sometimes the north is frightening. That's how she didn't know. We should sit by the fire. What he's doing. His lordship has ordered a fire to be kept burning. It's not that cold. One gathers around a fire not only for warmth, but also for conversation and reflection. Perhaps the fire has its own secrets and stories that may be of interest to all. He is not hot next to the fire. Not hot at all. It's all right. That's right. Aaron isn't from the north, is he? Aaron speaks so little, and from the expression on his face, you can't make anything out. Perhaps Aaron's reticence and mystery add intrigue and mystery to his image. She has no way of knowing what kind of man he is, what he's thinking. Such coldness, apparently, northerners do not take. By the way, I thought he said he used to live in the capital, probably misses his homeland. The mystery and some nostalgia surrounding his identity may keep interest in his past life and motivations alive. He doesn't have much in the way of memories associated with those times. I wonder how he ended up in the north. Okay, just sitting silently by his side. Every now and then, inner musings could lead to mysterious moments of self-reflection, especially when it came to the past. Chloe's brought them food. It's vegetable soup. His lordship apologizes for the meager meal. They'll be arriving in the capital soon, so let them eat. Even if she's not very hungry, bon appetit, everyone. She's glad Chloe's joining them. By the way, where did the others go? The closer you get to the capital, the milder the climate. The question of the others might hint at some surprises in their travel plans, or just spark an interest in what's going on around them. No one wants to sit by the fire because it's too hot next to it. Everyone here is warm without a fire. Apparently, the evening atmosphere is so pleasant that the heat from the fire becomes unnecessary, and everyone enjoys a wonderful time surrounded by each other. And she's out. The heat doesn't get to her. No, she's hot, but she has to accompany her everywhere. She doesn't mind the heat. She can bear it for her. She promises to always be there for her. This shows willingness and loyalty, creating a warm and protective atmosphere. If she'd like to walk with her on the mountain trail, someone is touching her hair. The touch is very gentle. It's so warm and it's peaceful. A moment of intimacy and caressing can be especially exciting and calming, creating a pleasant feeling of closeness and care. Let him stroke her some more. They're in the capital. They've arrived. It's cool outside. What a big inn. How many people? From here to the outer door of their room. This is where she can take the bedroom. It is the largest and most beautiful of all. The new space could be a sort of sanctuary for her, and a place where she could create coziness and a reflection of her personality. Grateful to him, and where Michael will live. He doesn't have a separate room. They will live together. The new environment and neighborhood could create interesting dynamics in their relationship. He didn't give that order. There must be some mistake. What are they going to do? Maybe they will forgive him. Unforeseen circumstances can sometimes be confusing, and it is important to find ways to resolve misunderstandings. They have no choice but to take this chance. How could she fall for that? Look at his face, satisfied as an elephant. Perhaps that description of the expression on his face emphasizes the satisfaction and confidence in the decision they're making. Why would Michael put them in the same room? They're already up north. They don't have to hold hands and sleep in the same bed. Maybe it's for his own peace of mind. What's she thinking about? Nothing. Just why they share a room. Because he wanted them to. Doesn't she like it? Not that she didn't like it. Maybe she had questions about the structure of their relationship and began to wonder what it might mean for both of them. What is she talking about? She's making up her own shit. She needs to get her head on straight. She'd better eat. Maybe they'll have a drink. Don't let her get too drunk. She's finally back with them. She's just thinking. Doesn't he drink? He doesn't really like alcohol. He also wants to stay sober while she's around. I wonder how he acts when he gets drunk. Perhaps this question has become a mystery to her, and she is curious about what side of his personality comes out under the influence of alcohol. There were times when she would have a few drinks alone, when the mood wasn't so good. She has never gotten drunk, and doesn't even know how much she can take before she gets intoxicated. This moment of personal reflection gives her image added depth, and perhaps meeting new people could be an interesting exploration for her, especially since they're in the know. In fact, she likes fun company, meaning she didn't quite mean it. She said the wrong thing. The atmosphere is ruined. The sudden correction of her words caused some misunderstanding, creating a moment of awkwardness in the merry company. He, Robert, decided to personally offer her a glass of this fine beverage. Let Chloe be responsible for the walks, and he would be responsible for the drink. This gesture of gallantry and caring can create a special atmosphere where everyone involved feels important and cared for and included in the overall fun. She can't take it anymore. She has a mistress to take care of. Let her drink to the bottom. Just because she likes fun company doesn't mean she wants to be in one, and not now. Apparently, she's very resistant to alcohol. She didn't think she would ever be able to drink like this and laugh with others like this, like some kind of dream. This moment may have been her sudden and joyful discovery of her own ability to entertain. He can see that she likes it here. His breath tickles her ear. It's best not to turn toward Michael. If she sees his face now, she will definitely regret it. In this moment, the sense that his presence might be a pleasant surprise adds to the mystery and intrigue, keeping the mystery in their relationship intact. Don't they see? Mistress is already bored. Let Robert begin. He does. The rules are simple. He'll spin the fork, and whoever the sharp side of the fork points at will say something he couldn't say before, to the person the handle of the fork points at. The author of the novel is Korean, and it seems to be Korean games here too. It's normal for them to play this kind of game in front of the Duke and his wife. They will definitely not regret their choice later on, as such entertainment has become part of their general culture and norms. As the game progressed, they would be transplanted. And Michael, judging by the look on his face, is more of a fan of watching others play. Then he twirls his fork in his hands, thoughtfully following the dynamics of the events in the game, as if deep in his own thoughts. Let him forgive her. In truth, she is not worthy to accompany her. She knows how hard it is for her in the cold, but she still wraps herself up all the time, as if trying to unknowingly shelter herself from her own unworthiness. And she suddenly thinks she looks like a rabbit. Everyone seemed to be in solidarity with her, and in that moment, perhaps there were smiles and gentle exclamations all around, confirming her own perception. Perhaps it was an enchanting moment of general lightness and cheerfulness. Afterward, they twirled the fork several times, creating ornate patterns as if to reflect the unpredictability of their relationship. Some of the words spoken at this moment touched the soul, leaving a warm trace in their hearts. Even love confessions were revealed in this atmosphere, and the ice slowly began to melt, leaving room for intimacy and sincerity. Why does it seem to her as if the table has narrowed, forked, as if avoiding Michael? It is unlikely that a little girl like him has anything to say to Mistress. Why did Aaron too? While he was escorting her, he had a thought. I wonder what he had to say to her. Michael wondered. Why then do they continue to play onward? Again, she is opposite Sir Robert. Perhaps there is an unsolved story lurking in their relationship, creating intrigue in this game. Her thoughts about him. She has to tell him everything. She actually wakes up every time, all sweaty, when she dreams of his face. But why? After that, the girl fell asleep again, leaving a mysterious feeling in the air and an unsolved mystery that makes her wake up in anxiety. This face is her psychological trauma. I wonder what she meant. He's got it all wrong. Whatever it is, he's the reason his wife can't sleep. He doesn't even know what it's about. Maybe something happened in the past that left a mark on her soul that she can't uncover. Maybe we should cut them off. Why would she wait? She's up for a promotion. She's doing her thing. How she ended up in the room, she doesn't remember anything. Her body is clean, and her skin smells like soap. Had Lara gone to great lengths to create a cozy sanctuary for her, filled with care and cleanliness. A strange sense of care and secret nurturing surrounds her, as if someone special was protecting her peace. Finally, she woke up. She didn't do anything strange yesterday. Turns out she likes to drink. But even when drunk, she remains sweet. Perhaps her innocent and gentle nature smooths out any behavior, including the fun parts of drinking. Why so sudden? Did he at least get a good night's sleep himself? After all, he always and everywhere sleeps well. During the war, they sometimes fell asleep even standing up. But now that the rest of the time is left, the sudden fatigue seems like a mystery to him. That's right, he is leading a huge army. If war suddenly breaks out, Michael and his soldiers will definitely go to the front. At that moment, he will stand at the head of his troops, ready to lead them in the defense of his land. Fortunately, there doesn't seem to be any wars in the novel. But what if a war does break out and he has to leave? What then? That strange feeling of uncertainty that can envelop, imagining the possibility of circumstances changing and influencing the course of events, which she wondered about. Let him not be sad, just imagined the horrible conditions he had to live in. From how old he had started camping. In these reflections, she may have seen the hardships and trials he had faced from a very young age. He first went to war at the age of 18. He needed to be promoted to general as soon as possible, and the imperial family was constantly pushing, setting ambitious goals for him. This challenge of youth became for him not only a test on the battlefield, but also an inner cross, which he learned over time to carry with honor and strength of character. He doesn't want to talk about it. It's a long story anyway. If he doesn't want to talk about it, he doesn't have to. Everyone has their comfort zones, and he respects his privacy, past events notwithstanding. If she's interested, he'll tell absolutely everything. He has no problem opening up his soul and sharing different aspects of his life, whether it's dreams, fears, or memories. There will be mystery, laughter, and moments in his stories that will bring them closer to each other. For as long as he can remember, Michael's family has been just him and his mom. And when he turned 10, she fell ill and died. It was a big surprise to everyone, but he had no time to grieve. His mom instilled in him a strong sense of responsibility for the North, and he immediately started studying to take the throne as soon as possible. So that's why he was used to being alone, and what his mother was like. She was a confident person. Even before she died, she didn't let her guard down. But now he realizes that running the North must have made her that way. But there was a warm, tender side to Mom. She didn't smile much, but she liked to stroke his head. This gesture became a kind of tender language of love and care, bringing warmth and comfort to their relationship. It was good that Michael had good memories of her. It's gratifying, and perhaps a little envious. Fortunately, he discovered he had a talent for wielding a sword, which was probably not only a source of satisfaction for him, but also an additional way for him to express himself. Therefore, sometime later, he was able to lead an army. At first, ruling the North was very difficult. The eyes of those around him relied on him, and despite his outward confidence, uncertainty could smolder inside. She had thought he had always handled all matters with confidence, but now she saw that every success had been gained by hard work and sacrifice. It took him a long time. At first, he was just an ordinary child who didn't know or understand anything. He even ignorantly refused several addresses from the palace. He thought he didn't have to appear at court since he had nothing to do with the imperial family. Now he sometimes leans toward such settled notions. But he was young then and didn't realize that's why the imperial family still dislikes him. Even though he's partly to blame for it, he still thinks they're wrong about him. Over time, he may have realized his mistakes, but the misunderstanding from the imperial family remains, leaving a shadow of distrust on his past. Because they closed themselves off from them and entered the battlefield, only to worry what they'd think if he refused. The North didn't need to cause themselves any unnecessary trouble, but it's all right now. Hopefully then he won't act to his own detriment, for the favor of the imperial family given the history with Baron Marianne. It's not impossible. As he noticed her friend. Doesn't like being in the palace either. He's talking about Deven now, banished and hated. But he has a different case with his own history and the complex relationships around his personality. If you reflect on the situation, it doesn't even seem strange. For Crown Prince Doinen, this man's existence becomes a carrying threat. By his mere existence, he is a potential threat to his brother's title, creating a complicated dynamic within the royal family. He had noticed this while watching him at one of the events. Though Deven tried not to show his displeasure, it crept into his expression. However, despite his efforts to hide his resentment, he was clearly not happy with his current situation. Deven has a special character, as evidenced by the subtle shades of his emotions that defy superficial perception. He is very kind, and such a person will never answer evil with evil. It is for this reason that the plot of the book remained light and romantic. Had it not been so, would he have been able to fall so innocently in love with the Crown Prince's sister Mabel? His pure heart reflects the true power of kindness, which gives the novel a special charm and warmth. It must have been hard on him. The warmth of pride flickers in her eyes as she thinks about how he was able to overcome the hardships. It is good that he grew up to be such a worthy man, becoming a protector of the North, just as his mother had dreamed. The image of his strength and determination is reflected in his every step, as if he is carrying the burden of responsibility for his home corner. His parents might say to him, "What a good boy," seeing him step forward with determination, overcoming difficulties. So she, seeing his efforts, wants to express her own pride, and she herself would like to hear such recognition from someone, to feel that your efforts do not go unnoticed. He thinks he made the right choice in taking her in. Confidence sparkles in his eyes, but a shadow of doubt slowly slides across his face. It's a foolish thing to do. There is no benefit to him in this choice. He has tied his fate to a man who has nothing but debt. But deep down, he is touched by the warmth that this hard road he has chosen brings. What nonsense he is talking, thought the girl. Embarrassment flashed in her eyes. But why is he silent? Maybe she had been too rude, did not want to offend him, and when he fell asleep stupid, she regretted her rash words. On the one hand, she understands the reasons for his obsession. He's afraid of being alone again, and she knows what it's like to be alone. But now they have each other, wrapped in the warmth of trust. I wonder if he still worries about her now, showing concern in every look. Michael always takes her hand when he thinks she's freezing, creating a gentle covering in the cold moments. Both of their faces are so glowing, as if an inner light is emanating from their happiness. What's she? They just slept and slept together, creating a special atmosphere of the morning. By the way, she hopes he didn't notice how she took his hand early in the morning while leaving for training, emphasizing the invisible but warm bond between them. At night, she gets sentimental. Since she's quiet, she probably hasn't noticed anything. In the silence of the night, her feelings may evoke memories and experiences, but her silence may be a sign that she is unwilling to share her inner world at the moment. Thanks to his wife, he was able to get a very good night's sleep. However, what he carries sounded ambiguous, creating a mysterious and interesting tension in the air. It was nothing, for there was an atmosphere of mutual understanding and trust between the two of them. Despite possible misunderstandings or moments of tension, they were spouses, bound by a long and strong bond of love. Such insignificant moments did not matter in their happy union. May love and mutual understanding always prevail, and these insignificant moments become nothing compared to what they shared together. Today they are going downtown. They're going to go in just like she wanted. She's all excited, ready to savor every moment of this day in the heart of the city's bustle. They're having a little problem. He's been told there's a problem with the carriage and it's his. If he wants, they'll make another one. There's a crack in the tire. If he hadn't checked it beforehand, there could have been trouble. But what caused it remained a mystery. Perhaps the effects of time or external factors were the source of the unforeseen problems. Perhaps it was the quality of the wood. The material had failed, even though the wheels were as good as new last night. Sounds like malicious intent, like someone is intentionally targeting their means of transportation. Have him call the guys who were on guard last night. It does seem odd, though, like someone hit the tire on purpose. Maybe they can provide more information or notes on the incident. They're already on the case. As recently as yesterday, this tire was completely intact. No suspicious persons were seen last night. That's right, and they too have no way of knowing how this mysterious breakdown occurred. In the morning, before breakfast, they returned to the inn. There was plenty of time to do something in this instantly awakening time. Really, though, quite possible, and unlikely to be the pranks of the local children. But witnesses must be found, for their testimony might be the key to unraveling the mysterious events.